guys, welcome to the video. In today's video, I thought that I would talk a little bit about how much weight should you gain in the off season. I won't lie, I have had off seasons where I have definitely gained too much weight, and then I have also had off seasons where I probably didn't gain enough weight and didn't see the progress that I probably could have. So that begs the question, how much weight should you be gaining in the off season? I am about 8 weeks into my off season now, so with that, weight has been trending upwards lately, and with that I thought that I would talk a little bit about how you should know how much weight you should be gaining in the off season. But before we go ahead and touch on some of that, I got a push workout to do, so we are going to go ahead, get some pre-workout ready, head to the gym, and crush this workout. So let's head downstairs and get the pre-workout sorted. You guys have seen me talk about pre-workouts numerous times, so I'm not going to go too in-depth into my pre and intra workout. If you guys want to go ahead and see a little bit more in-depth about that, then definitely go ahead and check out some of the recent videos. But for today's push workout, I'm going to go with the ANS Dilate Liquid Pump again. Really great. We're going to combine that with the Ghost Pump as well. As you guys know, I try not to use too much caffeine throughout the week. I have been trying to cut back on my caffeine intake so that I'm not just a cracked out caffeine junkie. So I will have an energy drink usually on a push day like this, which I'm sipping on here. We got the Rainbow Sherbet, so sipping on that, got about 180 milligrams of caffeine there, and then we'll just go ahead and use some pump ingredients for my push workouts and save the caffeinated pre-workouts for a little bit of the bigger days like legs and back and hamstrings and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, get this stuff together, and then we will get headed to the gym. We are in me mother's car today because the old Jeep is in the shop. Yeah, goddamn Jeep is in the shop, which kind of sucks. There was this loud clunking noise that was happening that I was like, oh Jesus. There was this loud clunking noise that was happening that was making me a bit uneasy, and I am leaving for a trip to Banff in like 10 days. So I was like, should probably go get that taken a look at before I go ahead and drive it to the mountains, because that probably wouldn't have been very good if something happened to it while we were in the mountains. So I would rather get it looked at now. So driving my mom's car for the next couple of days, the old GMC Terrain. Funny enough, actually, I drove this thing for like 6 months or so before I got the Jeep. When I sold my old vehicle, when I sold my truck, and I didn't find a new vehicle for a while. So I was driving the old GMC Terrain for a while. It's honestly, it's a good vehicle, so I'm ripping this to the gym, but nevertheless going to get on our way to the gym now, so probably catch you guys in a minute. Oh, the gym looks busy. I absolutely love that. I love filming in a busy gym. It's kind of a pain in the ass, not gonna lie, and not for the sense that people are getting in my way, it's the fact that I feel like I'm getting in people's way. I don't ever want to be that guy that like gets pissed off about people walking in front of my camera or something, so I will always try to like be as small as I can be when I'm filming videos, because I don't want to get in people's way. So I prefer to film when it is definitely quieter, because then I don't worry about getting in people's way, because I don't want to be that dickhead at the gym. You know, those people at the gym, it's like, and I think that that's something like, I will get attacked on social media if my camera is in the way of somebody, and I'm like, no, I'm sorry. Like, people have walked in front of my videos before, and I'm just like, don't worry about it. Whatever I'm filming here is not as important as your workout. If you ever see my camera, just walk right in front of it. But I still feel like I'm getting in people's way. So hopefully some of these people will start to leave before I really get into the brunt of my workout. But just sitting here drinking the pre-workout and jamming out to some tunes, even though you can't hear the tunes, because last time I did that, I don't know if any of you saw like a couple videos ago where I was kind of having my little jam session in the car, I played like 10 seconds of Shakira just as a joke, and YouTube nailed me with copyright. Thankfully, I don't make any money off of YouTube, so even if they copyright my shit, it's fine because I'm not making any money off of it anyways. But I played like 10 seconds of a Shakira song, and they picked up on it. So that's the thing, you gotta be careful on YouTube. Sometimes I'll just get nailed for like 10 seconds of a song. But that's enough about my my YouTube copyright rant for the day. Let's head in there and let's get this push session going. Guys, that is the session wrapped up. Not a awful session, not a great session either. Definitely feeling very, very fatigued the last couple of weeks, just kind of holding out for this deload. Definitely fucked up when it comes to the timing. I have now learned from this training block that like 6 to 7 weeks is the absolute max that I can go before taking a deload, because it's been about like, this is going on week 3 now that my performance hasn't been all that great. I noticed right after kind of Thanksgiving that performance started to drop a little bit, and I was like, okay, maybe it's just a couple off days, but it's been like 2 weeks now that performance hasn't been, you know, absolutely great. Like, not regressing on too many exercises, just mainly maintaining numbers, which is good. We don't want to be regressing, but ideally we would like to be progressing, which was the case for the first 6 weeks of this training block. Performance was just trending upwards at a very linear rate. So I've definitely learned that, yeah, kind of 6-7 weeks is the max I can get away before going into a deload. But I really wanted to go ahead and kind of line up this deload with the trip to Banff that I have coming up here in like a week and a half. So definitely holding out for that. Might need to make some adjustments to volume for the next kind of week and a half until we leave, just so that the workouts aren't total trash. So yeah, not a great workout, which definitely does affect my mood. It definitely does piss me off a little bit. I'm someone where the workouts really are a big part of my day, so I really want to make sure that those are always the best that they can be. So then when things aren't going the best that they possibly can be, especially when I have all of my variables in place, like I'm nailing my sleep, I'm nailing my nutrition, all of those sorts of things, I'm nailing my cardio, when it's just the fact that I actually train too hard, that's when it's a little bit frustrating, because I just want to go kind of ball to the wall. But there's a point where we have to let our foot off the gas a little bit in order to make sure that we are recovering from, you know, the fatigue that we are placing on it. So nevertheless, that's my little rant about fatigue and the workout. But we're going to go ahead, head home, get some food together, and then we will finally dive into the topic of this video, which is how fat should you get in the off season. So I'll catch you guys in a bit. You guys know I love my cream of rice, and this has been the absolute GOAT lately. This is the Elevate cream of rice in their new apple pie flavor. Definitely one of my favorites. They released apple pie as well as maple brown sugar, so of course I had to get them. But we're gonna do 100 grams of that for the carbs for our post-workout meal. Theirs is nice too because it comes with a scoop. the little things. It's the little things. There is 2 things that you need to do to make the perfect cream of rice. Number 1 is the water ratio. I do 4 times the amount of water that I do to the cream of rice. So if I do 100 grams of cream of rice, I'm gonna do 400 grams of water. Shit, 403 grams. The other thing you will need, a whisk. I used to make my cream of rice with spoons, and now I've been using a whisk for like the past couple months, and it's a game changer. I won't lie. Using a whisk for cream of rice is an absolute game changer. Give it a good old whisk, and then I go ahead and start with 2.5 minutes in the microwave. And then after the first 2.5 minutes, you take it out, give her a stir, and then put it back in the microwave in 30-second intervals, taking it out and stirring it in between each interval. I used to just like make my cream of rice and bang it in the microwave for like 3 minutes, but then it comes out all clumpy and not very smooth, so this is the way to make sure that you get the right consistency with it. Is go ahead, give it a stir, put it back in for 30 seconds, take it out, give it a stir, and repeat that process until you get your desired thickness. Some people like it a little bit thinner, I like it a little bit thicker, so I might leave it in like an extra 30 seconds to a minute longer, depends. But that's how you get the right consistency with the cream of rice. Look at that. Is that not the best cream of rice you've ever seen? Look at that consistency. If the camera will focus. That's cream of rice consistency. But I'm gonna sit down, eat my cream of rice, and then we will dive into off-season weight gain. So, how much weight should we be gaining in the off season? Like I said at the beginning of the video, I have done it both ways, where I have gained probably a little bit too much weight and the majority of that being fat. And then I've also done it the opposite way, where I've tried to stay too lean and just didn't make a ton of progress. So that begs the question, how much weight should we realistically be gaining in the off season in order to see the optimal amount of progress? Now, obviously I am not advocating getting fat in the off season, because obviously if we get to the point where we are accumulating too much body fat, this is just going to lead to poor results. We are going to start to see detriments to our sleep. We are going to start to see our blood glucose increasing. We are going to start to see our insulin sensitivity decreasing. We're going to start to see our cardiovascular fitness decreasing, which is going to lead to poor performance in the gym. So same thing as being too lean can cause you to not see results. Also, gaining too much body fat can cause you to not see the optimal results as well. So I definitely think taking a slower approach to your weight gain over the course of an off season is going to be the best way to do this. Now, before we go ahead and talk about the actual numbers of what I think you should be aiming for to gain in the off season, I think there's a couple of things that we need to cover first. There has been numbers thrown out there about, 12 to 15% body fat for men is a good spot to stay, but I think that realistically, when it comes to actual body fat percentage, number one, everybody is going to carry body fat differently. I know that personally, I carry a lot more body fat in my midsection as well as my lower back. So while some guys might have abs during their off season and their gauge is, okay, I want to be able to continue to see my abs throughout the off season, that's not a good gauge for me, because even though I may not be able to see my abs, I can still see lines through my legs, I can still see lines through my shoulders, because those areas are just genetically leaner for me, and I store most of my body fat in my midsection, whereas some guys might be a little bit more evenly distributed when it comes to their body fat distribution. So don't use one area on your body as your means of measuring your progress in the off season and how much body fat you are accruing. The second thing is, everybody is going to be different in where they perform the best. Some guys can just stay genetically leaner while not having the maladaptations that come with being leaner. If you think about it, as we get deeper and deeper into a prep, we start to see those maladaptations such as sleep disturbances, such as decreased performance in the gym. We start to see sex drive take a hit. We start to see appetite really being sky high, and all these different negative adaptations that come with staying too lean. Some guys can go ahead and get out of this hole. They can start to see those negative adaptations go away while still being at a leaner body fat percentage. Whereas some guys might need to be at a little bit of a higher body fat percentage in order to see those negative adaptations go away, in order to see their hunger settle down a little bit, in order to see their sleep improve a little bit, in order to see their sex drive come back. They may need to be at a little bit of a higher body fat percentage than someone else might need to be. So there are many genetic differences when it comes to the amount of of body fat that you should be accruing in the off season and the amount of weight that you should be gaining in the off season. The amount of body fat that you should be carrying in the off season should be enough to where you are no longer seeing any of those negative adaptations, but not too far to the point that we're starting to see those negative adaptations on the opposite end of things, like I said, with the decreased insulin sensitivity, the increased blood glucose, and even potentially the decreased sleep efficiency at that top end of things as well. So I think putting a number on the body fat percentage that you should get to in the off season is a poor way to go about things. I think that we should be measuring our progress and we should be gauging the amount of weight that we should be gaining off of those performance metrics. How is your performance in the gym? How is your sleep? How is your libido? How are your hunger levels? All of these sorts of different things are great ways that we can go ahead and gauge whether we should be pushing that body fat percentage up a little bit more or that weight up a little bit more, or whether we should be kind of keeping it where it is at. Now, as far as actual numbers go, so that we can go ahead and kind of quantify this, I think a good rate of gain for most guys in the off season is going to be anywhere between 0.5 to 1% of your total body weight. Now, this can be anywhere from 1 to 2 pounds if you are a 200-pound guy, which is going to be a relatively slow but lean rate of gain. Obviously, there are some scenarios where you are going to be leaning towards the higher end of that there. You know, the 2 pounds per week is definitely the higher end. I would say that most people who are either beginners in the gym and are just starting out, you can probably get away with being in that higher end of things and gaining about 2 pounds per week. And someone who is obviously on PEDs, if you are diving into PEDs, you are most likely going to be able to get away with having a little bit of a higher rate of gain on a weekly basis. But for the majority of guys, I would say aiming for that 0.5 to even 0.75% of your total body weight gain per week is going to be a good ballpark to aim for. Anywhere from about 1 to 1.5 pounds per week is going to be a good spot to have a good balance of actual muscular gain as well as limiting fat gain the best that we can. Because like we said, we don't want to creep too far into gaining too much body fat and then start to see some of those negative adaptations start to come back into effect. But like I said, ultimately the best way to go ahead and assess this is going to be through those performance metrics that we talked about, your performance in the gym, your sleep, your libido, your hunger levels. Go ahead and continue to take progress photos. Take progress photos on a weekly basis and identify what your fatter areas are. Like I said, I know that my midsection is a fatter area for me, so I can go ahead and kind of gauge that versus my legs, versus my shoulders and arms, about how much body fat I am actually accruing and how much muscle tissue I'm actually accruing as well. So continue to take progress photos, continue to measure those variables, and then as well continue to track your weight. I am really a big advocate of tracking weight daily and then taking that weekly average. I think this is the best way to go ahead and account for those little fluctuations that we are ultimately going to see in your weight throughout the week. Your weight is going to kind of go all over the place throughout the week, so I think it's really good to go ahead and weigh every day and then just take that weekly average to go ahead and determine what that weekly average is and how much you are gaining per week on average as well. If you can go ahead and track all of those different metrics, this is going to make sure that you stay in the best possible position to grow throughout your off season without accruing too much body fat and starting to creep up into too high levels of body fat accrual. But I hope that did give you guys a little bit of an insight into how you should be approaching your off season, how you should be gauging your weight gain in the off season, and how much you should be aiming to gain on average in the off season. Like I said, there's obviously going to be outliers. There's going to be people who can go above what I recommended. There's going to be people who need to stay below what I recommended, but I find for most guys that is a good spot to aim for. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap the video up there. I hope that you guys did enjoy the video. I hope that you guys took value away from this video as well. If you did, definitely be sure to drop a like on the video. I would greatly appreciate it. As well, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you are new around here so that you don't miss out on any future content. Otherwise, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.